Hi everyone, thanks for joining in for today's recap session. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Ben. I've been day trading since February 2025 and I've been recording my journey for the past few months. I trade similar style to Ross Cameron. Well, I learned most of my trading from watching the Ross Cameron's courses. But, over the past 6-7 months, I've sort of weared off and been trying to build my own community around the style of trading that I do. So one of the challenges right now that we're facing is that we're in a very hot and cold market. And especially for a beginner trader, someone like me, it's very difficult to capitalize on all the opportunities, because the idea is that you focus on one or two strategies and you try to work on them and make them better. Now, if the stocks are not there, if the moves are not there, and the opportunities that present themselves are riskier, then it makes it a lot more difficult for me to be able to capitalize on them. Now, last month, we had a couple of weeks or 3 weeks of very solid moves where just between Tuesday and Thursdays, we were getting these really nice moves. But now suddenly, February this month, the moves have just been one or two here and there. Now, I should have perhaps had a no trade day week this week altogether, because the trades that I have taken on hindsight, they've not been that great. It doesn't mean that I've necessarily broken rules or discipline. It's just obviously the staying focused, it becomes challenging as you wait, as you're anticipating moves to come up. So to hold yourself back and not jump on opportunities is very difficult. And I'm sure you can appreciate that as a beginner trader. You're tempted to jump on a lot of things that are moving. Well, so Monday and Tuesday were red days for me. We'll look at those in a second. And yesterday and today have been no trade days for me. Now, we've had RNAZ pop up this morning. Perhaps that presented the cleanest move for me. And just to clarify, I only trade stocks between the $1.50 and $10 right now. I do consider stocks above $10, but I find that the risk becomes greater for my account size and for my risk appetite. Don't get me wrong, there's been times where I've taken the trades. I suspect now that I have increased size this month, I was a bit more cautious on jumping in on the moves that I'm about to talk to you about. Perhaps if this was last month where I was only trading with a maximum position of 20 shares, I was more inclined to jump on that. And I suppose it's a lot to do with psychology than anything, because right now I'm trading with 200 shares as my max position, but my risk parameters stayed the same. I'm only risking 1 to 2% of my account on a daily basis. So technically on that basis, I should have been able to capture some of these opportunities off of this support on a 10-second chart. But I don't know what, I guess if this was a bit cheaper, I would have been more inclined to jump on it. On the other hand, there were a lot of wicks here and there were a lot of topping tails. So what this was telling me is that there was a lot of selling pressure, because the stock did this huge move, which is really great to see. And now what we expected and see is this sort of a curl pattern for it to resolve to the upside, but it seemed to just keep hitting a ceiling. Now, if I jumped in maybe around this area, which I know one of the members did get in with very small size, our Discord members did get in very, very small size, and that gave him a really nice move up to the upside up to $13. That would have been perfect. But given that it was still quite pricey in this area, I don't think I would have been willing to commit with 100, 200 shares. And I suppose that's a lot mainly based around fear than anything else, because I was like, well, I was red on Monday and Tuesday. I don't want to really go red on something that I'm not sure about, and then for it to go red and for me to kick myself. Now, of course, in this case, I would have, if I had taken that position, then it would have proved me wrong and I would have actually been able to capitalize on a really nice move. But again, would I have held after this initial pop? I don't know, because the stock is so choppy, and given that I was going in with biggest share size, I don't know, I'm maybe not just there yet in terms of handling that aspect of or processing that aspect of fear when it comes to size. So The other opportunities that I did see where I felt they were quite valid, I was seeing these support areas on the 10-second chart. I mean, you can sometimes see this just touched it, really just come so close to touching it. So there was clearly a support area there. That would have been a really nice entry here, I reckon. But, even any of these second and third one would have still been a good one, because it would have given me a really nice move, like at least 1 point or two, especially on this one, to the upside. So that was Arnaz. I mean, even if you look at the 1 minute chart, you can see that there's a lot of selling going on. Now, this is a very low float stock. Now, with the volume that it currently has, which is sitting at around 8.5 million shares of volume going through it, and a float of 0.83, and that's also verified on Arnaz, on Finviz, similar names. So very shares of float 0.83, so very similar. I mean, it could be that the sources are the same, but let's just say that it's got a very low float, almost a micro float. My inclination was that this was going to give us a much stronger move and perhaps go higher. But, you can see that even now that we are at the open, it's not really giving us a very clean move. And I just suspect that there's some selling happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that in a few months that float's changed and it's a lot higher. Not even a few months, in a few days. I don't know. I may be wrong, but, it's clearly hit a ceiling here and it's not stopped it from going any higher. So now let's have a look at my stats for the year. I think I gave you a preview already. So these are my stats for the week so far. This is my gross position. My net position is actually slightly higher, and I'll go into that in more detail in a second. Let me just zoom in a bit just so you can see. So I had 2 trades on Monday. To be honest, the 2 trades I took on Monday, I'm not going to lie, because I did cover this in my recap, but I didn't want to come up with excuses. The first trade that I took on PDYN, it was a mistake. I was holding what I do is I've got my level 2, for example, here. I mean, let me just change to my training account just in case I press it. Oh, it's not letting me now for some reason. Why are you not letting me? Anyway, I hold the mouse button on my on the ask, for example, buying an ask, and I just release it rather than clicking it. So, and I had a bit of a spasm, and I released it, and I got in with like 200 shares. So the first trade, or was it 100 shares? I can't remember. The first trade was a mistake, but then that gave me $20 loss. And as I went in, I actually went green. I was like, well, I'm in it now, so let's see what it wants to do. But it obviously went against me, and so I cut it out at $20. And then the second one, I think, was out of frustration, where it then put me down at $42. Now, on Tuesday, I think, again, sort of the pressure of going a bit, trying to process it, right? Mentally trying to process that I'm going in with bigger size. Nothing else has changed, right? Like, it's just about me accepting that nothing else has changed. It's just that your size is increased. Your risk parameters are the same, as in I'm only risking 1 to 2% of my account per trade, and my sizing is based on that, and my account size, I've put more money in to reflect that. So it's just about me processing and accepting that. Now, yeah, it just happens to be that it's coincided with February already being a very slow month that I'm doing this, because obviously January was a hotter month. So perhaps if I had started in January, I would have maybe had more success, but it's fine. So right now it's all about risk management and allowing or giving myself a chance to be able to recover. So that's why I've not had a no trader on Wednesday and Thursday, trying to wait for the right opportunity to come in, so I can just put myself maybe at break even or green by the end of the month, hopefully. If that doesn't happen, it's okay. I'm still learning. But on Tuesday, based on that psychology, I was struggling with maintaining that. So I went into red, and I got myself out of red because I was down $80-something on a stock, and I managed to take a few trades on another stock which popped up, and put me back on green. But let me show you what my net position is, because obviously the flip side of to overtrading is you paying more commission. I'm not with a commission-free broker. I'm using a broker called Ocean One Securities at the moment. They're an offshore broker, so they don't enforce PDT rule, and they give me leverage and margin on my account. So now you can see my just go back again. My I ended at $16 in the red. That was my gross position. And then when you look at my net position, so we're about $36. So that's added to almost $20 of in commission. And that's because I'm trading with bigger size. And I suppose, even though I still think it's better than the 80 something dollar red day. And I draw the line and I didn't push it any further because I feel like if I had pushed it any further, then it would have been a point of diminishing point of no return, because I would have just hit a ceiling where I either needed to catch a 15-20 cents winner, which it didn't look like it was going to happen, or I would have just basically put myself back down into red by $80 because of the commission. So where I stopped, I think it was a fair place to stop. I managed to recuperate more than half of my losses, and yeah, it's fine. And that means I'm ending the week in the red, $80.89. Now, $44.05, that was on Mondays. Just let me see what was my gross position. So, okay, so you can see I only took 2 trades on that day, and my commission on that day was only a couple of dollars. So, also the size varied, right? So I think my trade 300 shares or something. 600 shares altogether, buying and selling, and you pay for every time you execute an order. So if you buy 100 shares and you sell 100 shares, you pay commission every time. So that's the sort of an overview of where I am so far in the week of February. And I guess for new beginner traders who are also with a direct access broker like myself, who are trying to fine tune or figure out how to keep commissions low, the key to keeping commissions and fees low is to take fewer trades and wait for quality setups, especially as you're trying to learn and grow your account. Now, I'm still learning, but I'm much better. I recognize where I'm being triggered. I suppose Tuesday was an overtrading day, but in a way I still got at least experienced getting in with a bigger size, so I feel a bit more relaxed about it. Now today, perhaps Arnaz did give me a clear opportunity, but maybe it's a good thing that I didn't get in there, because then because of the price action and maybe all the topping tails and the fear of losing, being carried forward from the red days on Monday and Tuesday, it may have been the case that I could have been chopped up. So just before I wrap up, I also wanted to point something out, which is something I was thinking about earlier. It is difficult to just come in and nothing to move, especially if you're beginning at the beginning of your journey, and to stay disciplined and not take a trade or recognize what is a good opportunity. It can be difficult. So don't beat yourself too much if you are trading or overtrading right now. Just make sure you're doing it in the simulator at least. And if you are trading with in a bigger account, just reduce size to 10, 20 shares. And I can promise you it will make a huge difference to your confidence and to the pressure of not going deeper in the red. So those are the things to bear in mind. I guess the other thing to bear in mind is that if you're trading and waiting for the right setups to come along, that, for example, for the trades that I took last month, some of them were just easy to achieve. I didn't have to fight against the market. I mean, of course, you always got to have to be aware of the risk that you're taking and have your wits about you. I'm not saying that the market is just handing out these opportunities, but what I mean is that it was easy to hit a 25 cents per share goal and take half of the table and then aim for and then look at wait and see what the rest does, or perhaps even sell it higher. But whereas on Tuesday, where I was trying to recover, it was just so hard to even capture like a few cents. I was like, what is happening? Nothing. It's just, there's just so much selling. So it's about recognizing that when the market is in this mood and there's a lot of selling happening, and preserving your capital, I suppose. Now, I'm saying all this to you, and I'm not saying that I'm really good at practicing this all the time, but I'm saying it out loud because this is also my journal, right? I'm sharing it with you so that I can hear it myself, so that I can remember coming in tomorrow. I'll be like, okay, fine. If this week's going to be a red week and I'm not going to have three no trade days, it's fine. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something from it. Let me know what your thoughts are, how you did today. I don't know, maybe there was other opportunities. This is the nature of small caps. I'm still trading it, and let's see where it goes. There's nothing wrong with experimenting and learning. So we'll see what the next few weeks hold has in store for us. Maybe we'll get a bit more shift in momentum as the summer comes around, or perhaps the PDT rules dropped, and the threshold for funding your account, which gives you margin, reduced to $2,000. Maybe that will breathe some life into the market. I don't know, but saying that, there are a lot of offshore brokers. That doesn't stop people from trading. So what I'm not sure how much of a difference it's going to make, but maybe it will. But we'll wait and see. So yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I've got a short day tomorrow, so I don't know. Depends if I take a trade or not. If not, then I might not be able to do a recap. But otherwise, I'll if I don't catch you guys, have a good day tomorrow.